This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of another purge of the BS, sanctioned by the First Amendment. Frustration levels 0 to 100 have been authorized for use during this purge. All weapons are restricted. Government officials have not been granted immunity from the purge of the BS and shall undoubtedly receive the smoke. Commencing at the sound of the gong, any and all BS, especially unnecessary goofiness, will be purged without consequence. Police, fire, and emergency medical services will be available, but they will be busy because they too will be watching the purge of the BS. Blessed be those who have already been victims of some BS. May God be with you all.
We can enter any home we want, and we will want. His wanting is our will on this fine night. Don't force us to hurt you. Please just let us purge. To the standard.
You better find someplace else to go.
I got a wicked sweet tooth tonight. And I want my candy back.
Now can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Sorry. Moving too fast. So we good now? We good? Okay. Let me bring this down a little bit. Make sure my feeds are good. So Al Bond is good. Everybody's good. Things went crazy for a second, and X, as I mentioned, X is down. So that changes the episode a little bit today, but not much, you know. We only had a couple of clips from X, but it's just interesting to me that the whole website would be down when I'm trying to jump on. No, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy theory. I'm just saying it's interesting. All right? I have interest in that. So today we are going to purge some BS. It's a daytime show, so I'll keep it PG-13, as they would say. But we definitely need to talk about the unbelievable ignorance of arrogance, because some of our counterparts are arrogant enough to think that the public is actually stupid, and ignorant enough to believe that we won't notice the play and we won't see how they playing with us right now. I see what y'all doing. I see all the distractions. And because of that, I have to bring it to my people. So thank you very much once again for joining in. If you're coming in from the Facebook joint, special applause to you. Yeah. So I'm hoping that everybody's been paying attention, because I've been under the weather lately, so I kind of had to step back a little bit from the internet. But now we're coming through with all the forums. If not for the fact that X was down today, we'd be on X too. So that's actually pretty cool. So wherever you're coming in from, like I said, make sure you drop a comment, say what's up. And if I have the ability and opportunity, like I did with Al Bond, I'll make sure to read your comment. So thank you again for coming in. But let's get into it. Let's get into what we're talking about here, because everybody can't see what's happening. But we're supposed to act like we don't see what's happening, because when you speak up too much, then you get in trouble. And like, here's a question, just a general question. Anybody notice the price of gas come down about 30-something cents in the last week or so? Okay, maybe they didn't notice that. But is that any way connected to these weird business deals that are going on out in the ocean? We call them business deals when it's really just boarding a tanker full of oil and then making the sales yourself. But if it brings our prices down, how mad are Americans going to be? It's an interesting question. Somebody asked me about this. Like, look, if all of that happened, right? If they kidnap the president of another country and they do all this other stuff, and then all of a sudden you're paying like $2.10 for gas, like how mad are you going to be? You know what I'm saying? It's just a question. Just a question. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just presenting the human element of what we're looking at right now. So I'm hoping that y'all are ready, because I got a lot to say tonight. We're going to start soft and end hard, pause, but you'll understand what I'm saying. We're going to start with some on the surface a little bit, and then we'll get into the oil money gang later, because y'all can act like you don't see what's going on. But the question is, how mad you going to be when you're paying $2 a gallon for gas? How much anger you going to be showing? So let's get into our first purge of the day. Now that I know everybody can hear me, shouts to Lanny, Uncle Lanny. I see him tuning in on the Facebook side. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate that. And that at least lets me know that Facebook is working. So thank you, Uncle Lanny, for stopping in. From Cali, by the way, coming in from Cali. That's what's up. So nonetheless, there's a story that came across my timeline on the Book of Faces. I couldn't believe it. I'll be honest with you. I couldn't really believe it, but it did at least spark conversation. So I said to myself, you know, even though I don't believe it at all, that this was really going on, the acting was good. Let's say that. And secondarily, the conversation might need to be had. It's a weird one, though, because in this one, there's a gentleman who manages to find out that his child, or the child that he's taking care of, was only 93% his. Now, for those that sit in the back of the classroom, I'll explain that. If the child is only like 90 to 93% yours, and that just means that that's a family member's child and not necessarily your child. So because of that, the guy was upset. So we're going to go over a clip of him confronting his brother, have a brief discussion about it, just so we can talk about the subject matter. Not saying this is me or I'm going through anything like this, because my family members and my close friends, I don't deal with this kind of stuff with them, me personally, but some people do. So we're going to have the conversation and see if it's worth how upset this gentleman is. All right, let me bring this over to you. Hold on a second. See, is the volume up? Nope. See, I knew something wasn't right.
You got my bitch pregnant, bro.
All right, well, he started a little hot.
How the fuck you know it's me, nigga?
Because number one, I have a fucking house cam in front of my house. I can see you come in and out when I'm at work, my guy.
Oh.
Now, my nigga, my nigga. Since when we share bitches, bro?
Oh.
Since when? Since when, my nigga? Why would you have me fucking raising a fucking child that's yours? Now you're gonna be the one to tell mom, dad, the whole fucking family. I'm not gonna blast you on the internet. I'm not gonna blast you on the fucking internet, my nigga.
Nigga, you got a camera in my fucking face. What you talking about? You go back up, bro.
Yeah,
You back the fuck up, nigga. You the one who did this dumb shit. Nigga. That's on you, my nigga.
Nigga, that's on your bitch, Mo. That's not got nothing to do with me, my nigga. Like, what the fuck you want me to tell you about your bitch? Like, she wanted to fuck me. I didn't tell you because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. That's all on you, bro. I'm gonna keep it real with you. These hoes ain't faithful, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Faithful, my nigga. But you the bro. You're my blood brother. Blood brother. That's my baby. Well, that's your baby moms. Nigga, that's your baby moms, nigga.
All right, I'm going to pause it right here because the deflection was real. When the gentleman was approached with this situation, he immediately, although to some degree warranted, immediately blamed the woman who he slept with, which was the other guy's woman, and said, well, blame her. Well, that's true. She does also get some blame, but to totally like absolve yourself of fathering a child that your brother is raising as if it's her fault, man. You better talk to her about it because she wanted to do it, so we did it. That's like gentlemen, we got to show a little bit of self-control, okay? Just being honest. There is so many beautiful women out here. And then there's a bunch of ugly ones too. So you can take your pick if you like them either way. But there's plenty of them. Why you would end up sharing, I never really understood that. Like I said, me and my friends really never had that problem. Like even when I was coming up, we had code. It was more than enough out here to pick from. We didn't have to pick from each other's trees, if that makes sense. That's family. That's everybody. I've never had that issue with anybody. I had an issue with a dude one time that liked a chick that liked me. But he never actually had no situation with her. He just liked her, and she was looking at me, and so that became an issue. But it was never no sharing kind of situation. I won that, if that makes sense. So this conversation, although being had, is kind of like, would this really happen between two brothers, blood brothers? I don't know. If it did happen, it would be very rare. Because most people live by the code. Most. Now, of course, we wouldn't have reality TV and shit if we didn't have people living against the code. But I feel like in this one, even though these gentlemen are having this discussion, I don't know if it's staged. I don't believe it's staged. I will say this. The area that he's living in is messy. So he could live a messy life. He has a messy background, a messy bed. He could have a messy life. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm just saying it's me and my boys never went through that. Like I said, the closest you could get was they were interested in a chick that was interested in somebody else. But if that whole I'm doing the girl that you with, that even like exes are off limits to a certain degree, especially if it was an ex like you was with for years. Now, if it was some chick you had a one night stand with 20 years ago and then some other dude that you happen to know happens to hook up with her years later, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about real-time issues. So fellas, we got to show some control. There's this thought that somebody's brother got your lady impregnated and you're raising their child, just the thought of it, they should be fighting right now. Like, he doesn't care, so the remorse is not there. He approached him with the situation, got no response and no remorse. So all I'm saying is, what's the point of not, I don't want to say, because they're going to tell me I'm promoting violence. What I'm saying is, what's all this talking and recording, bro? You could have put the phone down on the side and handled business, if that makes sense, okay? So the way that he's acting is like he don't care anyway.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. These hoes ain't faithful, bro.
Which is might be true.
Faithful, my nigga. But you the bro. You're my blood brother.
Also true.
Blood brother. That's my baby. Well, that's your baby moms. That's your baby moms, nigga. So what I'm gonna do, bro, is take my little nephew and bring him over here.
This nigga said my little nephew. Nigga, how you know it's mine, boy? That bitch ain't shit, boy.
All right, ready? Not being funny. It came back 93%. So guess what that fucking means, genius? Look it up on your phone on Google. It means either as a fucking close relative or a brother. And guess what you are to me? Did you smash? All right, then. So listen, my niggas. Listen, I'm not mad at you. You taking the load off my shoulders. Okay, he's yours now, player. It is what it is.
That's a little crazy. And
do, bro.
You're taking the load off of his shoulders to a degree, but that's now going to be some de facto, I hate to use the term, bastard kid in the family that came as a result of basically some debauchery. And that's, I don't like this. But the conversation, I guess, would need to be had because a lot of people have been talking about they need to do mandatory DNA tests for kids, right? Just because, like the gentleman said, there are a lot of people that are not loyal. And maybe mandatory DNA testing is necessary. I don't know. But in this situation, I think a fight is necessary. Because you did have him over there raising this kid that's probably not his. And if you really thought that about his lady and knew that, because obviously you had personal experience with this, you should have been talking to your brother and letting him know, yo, that might not be, because she with a bunch of other dudes. And maybe you find out it's you, but at least be honest with your brother. See, gentlemen, this is where we have to be communicative with each other. They had an app called The T that ladies was talking about dudes. It wasn't even true, but at least they were communicating. These guys are brothers and not communicating about what that situation is. And it starts what will be known as another generation of goofiness. So, like I said, if this is an attempt at staging something to cause a conversation, they definitely cause the conversation. But the conversation should simply be mandatory DNA testing. It just be a thing. I mean, sometimes you not even, let's say opt out. Let's be fair about it. Let's say you have the option to opt out of it as a gentleman. Like you could say, you know what, I'm not even worried. So I'll just opt out of it. But for those that don't want to opt out of it, that want to be sure, and it may start a conversation or an argument. I'm just being honest. If you don't trust the person you with to have your child when you've been doing certain things with them, you probably don't trust them to not have diseases and stuff too. So maybe your relationship has a whole different premise that needs to be dealt with. That's all I'm saying. But this guy, I just think they should have probably fought it out instead of posting it on the internet, which is why I think it's staged. Because dudes don't normally do all of this with their family, so to speak. But like I said, he was exposed for not caring, wearing a purple bonnet, and having a really, really nasty background. Like really, really nasty. So we're going to keep it moving. Truth be told, that's disgusting. So nonetheless, he's going to get the, let's see, which sound effect does he get? He gets this one.
Why you so stupid?
Yeah, that was stupid. To mess with your brother's girl, that was really stupid. But unfortunately, there's so many people out here sharing people that the conversation became a conversation. That's why mandatory DNA testing became a thing, is because there's so many people out here just doing stuff and not paying attention to who they doing it to within certain amounts of time and end up on the, what used to be the Maury show. I don't know who's doing it now because Maury's gone, but like we just keep contributing to the generations of this. We do know this, right? Like this is not, oh my God, I'm dropping some jewels, like letting everybody know something that they don't know. We are contributing to the fall of society as we stand here and fall with society. So nonetheless, there was a secondary clip that I wanted to talk about since we've been looking up to our influencers and so much lately. There was a particular streamer, we'll call him that, because apparently there's a difference between a streamer, an influencer, a podcaster. I don't know what the difference is. They're all on the internet just like me. So in this particular case, there is a streamer that you guys might know named Cenat. Cenat's been pretty much killing the game after like Mr. Beast killed the game for a while. Mr. Beast is still killing the game. I'm not really a Mr. Beast follower, but he's got enough followers that I know who he is. Similar to Kai Cenat. Even if you don't watch everything that he's been doing, you kind of know who he is, right? Well, after he did a recent, what was it called, Mafia-thon? Do y'all know what Mafia-thon is? They don't even know what Mafia-thon is. Well, he did a stream for like a month straight. He did a nice thing. He brought on a lot of other streamers. He did a streamer university. He's been at the, he spread some of the wealth, as they would say. Like after he got big, he brought on a lot of other streamers. And now he's kind of taken a backseat to streaming for the last couple months. And people were like, well, why is Kai Cenat no longer streaming after he did these 30-day streams and brought all these people on? It's because he was training his replacement, apparently. Because now he is jumped into a whole nother world, and people saying he's worshiping the devil. I don't believe that per se, but we're going to go over the clip and we're going to see what it's about, okay? So nonetheless, let me see what we got here. Oh, that's right, the Kai Cenat's on X. We might not be able to do that. Let me see if X came back up first. Hold up. Let's check it out. Sorry, guys. X was down, so I'm trying to see if it actually came back up yet. Okay, it's up. So we'll run this one. Good. I'm glad, because I just told y'all that whole intro, and it would have sucked if I couldn't play the clip behind it. So let's see what we got here. Where's it? Get in there. All right. Sorry, guys. I had to check out whether or not it was even up in the first place. Special shouts to everybody coming in on the Facebook side, too. This is our first time doing a Facebook broadcast on this show. So the fact that we're even able to maintain this stream right now between Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, and it could have been X. Maybe I should turn X on now. Did I do it? You know what? I'm not going to turn it on just yet. I'm going to wait till I finish this clip, then I'll turn on X, all right? And then if I turn on X and it shuts everything down, y'all already know what it is, all right? So nonetheless, let's talk about this Kai Cenat thing real quick as we move our way towards our oil money gang, all right? I still don't understand why this makes it up to do. Right up under here. Okay. Let's transition this thing here. All right, so Kai Cenat announced his retirement from streaming. So those who don't know, he's decided to not stream anymore. It feels like he kind of passed on the torch. That's why he got all those younger folks in there. Not that he was old, but he got a bunch of young people in there, women, men, a little bit different personalities, and then kind of gave them to the world, and now he's sort of backing off. So because of that, he did this little video or whatever with, looks like an interviewer, and he tried to explain why he's stepping back. We'll listen to it. We'll hear what he has to say. All right?
I know at times, usually I'm able to handle a lot of stuff by myself and find ways through it. But I just needed some advice on just pursuing life and goals that I have to how to find the confidence and the real commitment to pursue them. Because usually at the times I've achieved so much and I've been able to knock down goals I always wanted to do, and my mindset in my head, it's just like a lot of self-doubt. I'm not even depressed. I'm not sad. It's just for some reason I'm having like a lot of self-doubt because it's out of fear of stepping back from what I'm primarily known for, which is content creation, and pursuing another goal. One thing I wanted to ask you was like, how do you at times get over self-doubt or voices in your head saying that it's over, or voices in your head saying you might not be able to do it?
Well, first things first, you cannot let your mental take over. Some people are strong, some people are weak. when the voices in your head start coming, it's pushing you either to give up or keep going.
All right, let's see what we got here. So it just kind of sounds like he wanted to do some more stuff. Like, I don't know if that makes sense to other people, but sometimes you get bored with one thing and then you want to kind of move on to like doing some other things. Now, everybody's saying that he's possessed by the devil. I don't think he's possessed by the devil. Like, I don't know, man. This is just... He's saying Twitch lost a legend. I'm just trying to see what they're, let's see what this person's saying.
If you don't. Y'all remember when Kai Cenat had that magician on his stream? If you don't, watch this real quick and we're gonna talk about it.
Stop! Hey! What the fuck was that, bro? What'd you hear? A nigga just talked to me.
What are you?
On my mother's life, I swear.
He was saying it in his head.
He said, the number is number 3. Out of my head, nigga. What number was it? Bro, what the fuck?
Wait. Y'all see what part of his head that man touched? You see how easy it is for somebody to invade your psyche and manipulate your energy. I know this sounds so woo-woo, but you saw it. And I'm telling you, like, I feel like Kai has no reason to lie about something like that, especially not on his mom. That right there is why you shouldn't let just anybody touch you, especially on your third eye. Okay, friends, it is that serious.
Or your brown eye. Either eye. Don't let people touch you there. I don't think he's possessed by the devil. I'm sorry. They're trying to say that his new brand is possessed by is like a devil brand. You know what? They think everybody's Illuminati these days. I'm not saying that he's, perfect or anything. I'm just saying he's never really existed the whole satanic worship thing. He hasn't been putting the Baphomet up or the little horns and all this kind of stuff when he's doing pictures. So I don't feel it. I don't feel it. But we'll just say this. Since Kai Cenat is trying to pursue fashion here, he's trying to reinvent his internet presence. So most of his, it's not searching either. Let's see here. Let's hit up Kai Cenat's page real quick. I'm not really sure what that is. Let's just see what this is.
I guarantee you it was edited.
It didn't look edited.
Did he tell you what I said?
Yeah, he said you thought it was edited.
No, I'll tell you what I said. Tell you exactly what I said. Miz gave his Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Right? And then he gave like OG. He gave like Soda Poppin' and Wreckful and all these OG.
Yeah.
And I said, I guess for some people, Mount Rushmore is for the OG.
Yeah, I seen that, yeah.
Okay, and so if that is your thing, then Kai and Speed are at the top of the heap now.
No, you said, no.
And then, you said, therefore Kai and Speed wouldn't be on, no, I said they're at the top of the heap now, so then Kai and Speed wouldn't be on Mount Rushmore.
Now you had said, like you can't, you only told me that I was on Mount Rushmore because you was in front of me.
No, you saw that. No, I had you on that. I meant the clip.
You said to Miz, you said the...
All right, if y'all haven't heard about that was this guy, the old white guy in the back. It says, Kai Cenat should be on the Mount Rushmore of streaming. And then later on said that he only said that because Kai Cenat was sitting there with him. Now, I'll be honest with you. I think Kai Cenat would be part of that. He's definitely made a career out of it. And then what's more important that a lot of people don't seem to understand is that he kind of passed on the torch, or at least let people feed off of it. That's what makes Mr. Beast, everybody loved Mr. Beast. It's like he was giving out money and, getting people on shows. And so it's kind of like that, I give back kind of thing. So Kai Cenat kind of gave back. He had people at the BET Awards that would have never been there. With their niece or whatever. Like, he stood up for the dude Ty Lil when that happened. So I'll give Kai Cenat his freaking flowers, man. Let's just be honest. He did do a lot for the streaming stuff. And if he decides to take his back seat, he's made plenty of money. So maybe he can take a back seat and give some room to the rest of us, okay? So that's for Kai Cenat. That's all I'm saying. So anyway. Anybody mad at Cenat? I'm not mad at Cenat, at least not right now. Let me see what's up with this brand he's talking about. He has some clothes. He's creative directing when he had his dreadlocks, so he's, I don't want to, oh, he did the full I Quit video. Now, he definitely had a lot to say on his own Twitter page, but all in all, I don't see anything about devil worship or anything like that. So we're going to go ahead and kill that noise. Cenat did not stop streaming because he decided to go worship the devil, okay? So everybody can handle that, right? All right, let's keep it moving. Jeez. Cenat went to worship the devil. That's what came to me. Cenat stopped streaming because he went to go worship the devil. And y'all gave me this. He made a clothing company. Who else hasn't done that? I think Kanye did that. Well, Kanye was crazy, but still, he was doing that. And who else did that? Jay-Z did it. Everybody goes to make clothes. 50 Cent did that, goes to make clothes. They like putting their name on a brand and calling it theirs, and that's fine. I'm not mad at him for that. I would like to see what other ideas and whatever other directions he goes in. Same as Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast has a real TV show now. He's got a meal at, I don't know if it was Burger King or Zaxby's or something. He has like a Mr. Beast meal with a cookie in it. Might be Wendy's. I don't know. I don't eat that kind of stuff. But the point I'm trying to make is he's way bigger than YouTube at this point. And Cenat as well is bigger than just streaming on Twitch and sitting in his basement. I think he should branch out. I think that's a good thing for him. And I think he has deserved his applause. All right? All right. Let's see what we got going on next. All right, let's see what we got going on next. So the next segment we have, Alban said people quick to talk about they worshiping the devil, but don't understand that a lot of the stuff we're already consuming is coming from that same devil. We contribute to it. That's what I was saying earlier. Thank you, Alban, for your comment, because that's real. We always want to put it off on Beyonce and Jay-Z serving the Illuminati. Who are you serving every day when you're doing your wild stuff that you're doing? A lot to think about. So let's move into this. This next one is, I guess it's the best time to bring this up. An interesting story came to me, and I still don't understand the motive for certain things in life. I just don't. And I guess I came from the old school where we didn't disturb or bother the dead. Like if something's dead, we paid honor to it, but that's it. We don't disturb the dead. We don't go sleep in graveyards or pee on graves, or like we don't do, at least not in my family. That's not the way we get down. Now, that could be more of one race than others. I don't know. But this next clip came to me, and they found at someone's home in Pennsylvania over 100 skulls and human remains in their house that were found from a grave robbery case. Now, the question to me is, how do you rob 100 graves and nobody catches you? Like, what are you dragging in the house? You know what? Before I get into it, I'll bring in the clip. I'm going to bring in the clip, okay? And then y'all can make your own decisions on this. But I'm just saying, I'll let you decide or guess what race the person is who's committed these heinous crimes. Because where I come from, we do not disturb the dead. We don't bother the dead. It is what it is. You're under the ground, 6 feet. You're going to stay there. I'm not touching it. I don't care what they buried you with. So nonetheless, let's see what we got over here. Let's see what we got. Hold on. How long is this clip? Okay, good. It's only 2 minutes. I don't have the attention span I used to. So.
A ghoulish crime in Pennsylvania after 100 skulls and mummified body parts are discovered in a grave robbery case.
Okay, we can stop it right there. And mummified bodies. First of all, where'd you even find a mummified body? Would you go over to Egypt or something? They got mummies over here? I'll stop. No, I'll let the story continue, but I got questions. Okay? I got questions. Let's finish up. Hold on.
A ghoulish crime in Pennsylvania after 100 skulls and mummified body parts are discovered in a grave robbery case. Jonathan Christ Gerlach was arrested Tuesday night.
Christ stole the bodies, yo? I can't do this. I can't do this. I cannot do this. I can't. Y'all keep telling me I gotta watch. There's some heinous criminals out there, and they are of all colors. I'm trying to tell y'all, let's just keep our eyes open for all crazy people, regardless of their color, because this is some crazy stuff right here. And if you got that much in your house, who you having over for dinner? Like, it's questions, man. All right, let's back it up. I'm sorry, I can't do this without noting the obvious. There is some crazy ass people in this world. And we need to stop pushing it off on one side or the other. There's some crazy people on all sides. The opposite of what Trump said. Trump said there's good people on all sides. I'm going to let everyone else know there is some crazy people on all sides. Okay? So we need to be conscious of this so that we don't end up in a situation and think that everybody's okay and cool and they not cool. Like this guy. He's not cool. He's not cool.
Case. Jonathan Christ Gerlach was arrested Tuesday night, culminating a months-long investigation into break-ins at Mount Moriah Cemetery. Police closed in on the suspect after seeing bones and skulls in the backseat of a car near that cemetery. This is in Pennsylvania. They later searched his home and storage unit, uncovering more human remains. Police are also looking into whether the 34-year-old was selling remains on Facebook.
To who? Who was, you know what? See, here's what you need to understand is that at the end, selling this means there was other crazy people purchasing it. So we need to know who they are too, because they crazy too. You see what I'm saying? If he's like, yeah, I got these real bones. Where did you get those from? Do you work at the morgue or something, or the coroner's? You don't. So why am I meeting you on Facebook Marketplace to buy a human skull? Something's wrong with me. So we need everybody that Christ Gerlach, or whatever the hell his name was, has talked to. I need all names. I need everybody exposed that has purchased this shit from this guy too. Y'all crazy too. I don't think I'm gonna forget y'all. You on there looking for bones. Who's on Facebook looking for bones to buy? What is wrong with you? Buy bike parts. Okay, buy motorcycle parts. That you might get that on Facebook Marketplace. You might get robbed when you show up to purchase the stuff, but okay, all right. I'll let it go. I'll let it go.
Unbelievable scene that no one involved, from myself to the detectives to the medical examiners that are now trying to piece together what they are looking at. Quite literally. None of them have ever seen anything like this before. We don't know exactly what he was doing. We don't know what the hell he was doing. Time will tell. They were in various states. Understand, some of these are 200 years old. Some of them obviously much newer. There's one that had a pacemaker still attached to the bodies.
What the fuck?
Gerlach now faces 100 counts of corpse abuse, among other charges. New 5, President Trump.
Okay, we're gonna stop that. That's that. I think they're gonna go into Trump or something about the oil. We're gonna get to that a little bit later. Let's just take a moment here. Let's just take a moment to talk about this person. This person robbed over 100 grave sites, had human skulls, mummified bodies, and all types of stuff in the car and at his house. That means he did this for an extended period of time. They said one of the bodies still had a pacemaker on it, which to me is like, what do they come get the pacemaker when you pass away? Is that normal? Like that's what they normally do? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I thought the pacemaker was like inside and they would have had to go inside to get it. And if they're going inside to get it, what are they reusing the pacemakers now? I don't know. It's questions. These are just questions. But this gentleman decimated graves and apparently wasn't leaving a lot of evidence behind, like boot prints and, you know, car tire prints and stuff like you see on the FBI shows and stuff where they can track you from like how you left a place because it was, you know, the ground was wet. No, this gentleman had a whole MO of getting body parts or at least bones, because they said they were in various stages. So that's various stages of decomposition in his house. And they tell me I'm supposed to be worried about Tyrone, the crackhead. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about this guy messing with graves and stuff, because it takes a certain type of mentality to even bring yourself to that. And who knows what he was doing with some of these bodies, is what I'm saying. Like, they don't know what he did yet. There was 100 different bodies in his house and a little bit in the car, in the back seat. In the back seat, not even the trunk. They didn't even say what was in the trunk. He had human remains in his back seat. You know how that car must have smelled? You know how he must have smelled? He didn't even get pulled over. His tags was probably good. You know what I'm saying? He didn't get pulled over. He was driving the speed limit. 100 bodies in the backseat. I can't even do it, yo. I try to keep my cool when it comes to these kind of stories, but I have the problem of wanting to understand things, like the why of situations. Like, why would a person do something like that? Like, how did it start? Was it when they were a child, they dug up like a pet or something, and then that became like a thing? And I don't know. And even the police officer, the guy with the bald head and the wrinkles, he was like, look, we don't know nothing. We just know what we found at his house. He didn't say nothing. He was probably quiet when they got to the police station. I'm sure I'm sure you can't fathom, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure you can't really fathom it. But understand that this gentleman is one of the crazies, and he sold to a bunch of y'all crazy ass people. Just in case y'all didn't know, he sold to a bunch of y'all crazy ass people not too long ago. So all of y'all on Facebook, I'm coming for y'all asses too. Don't think you got away. Y'all ain't right. None of y'all right. That's disgusting, and I'm over it, and we're gonna just move into the next thing. I'm sorry. That's enough of that. It was Christian Christ Grillerman or some that's crazy. Get your peoples. Whoever's folks that is, get your peoples, yo. Because that brings me into the next thing. Because when people don't, respect the dead, it's like you definitely don't respect the living. Because even if you're not even like a believer in spirits and ghosts and all that kind of stuff or paranormal activity, there's a respect level to the fact that a person lived a life that ended. So it's like they had the human experience that you're going through. You respect the fact that they had that same human experience. And that's why you don't mess with the dead. You see what I'm saying? It's like, but speaking of the dead, and I'm not even going to say speaking of the dead, another story came down here, and I guess it's along the same lines. It must have been the algorithm that pulled these two stories together, because the second story that they're trying to debunk right now seems to be, they believe that a person was running crazy in, looks like LA, screaming about organ stealing. Are they still stealing organs? Because I've heard about this. I remember the dude, Dick Gregory, used to talk about it all the time. He'd be like, they're organ stealing. And he also said that the reason why women have big booties is because there's poop in them. But, Dick Gregory had some in and out moments. But this one, I gotta look at the clip here. He said a patient frantically escaped from the hospital, uncovering terrifying secrets within his walls. Now, this story is still, we're going to say this, it's not proven. What's not proven is this story, but not the story about people organ stealing. That's been proven. And nobody talks about that no more. We just quietly say nothing. But people have a lot of money, and they pay for accidents to happen to people that they know through looking at their medical records are matches for certain people in their family. And they pay for accidents to happen to these people with viable organs so that they can get them to their family members. This is the known fact. Y'all can talk about it all you want. I'm telling you right now, this is actually a known fact. People with money do this. Okay? Broke people, we don't really know about all this because we can't do it. We can barely pay the medical bills we have. So let alone find out that somebody's a match by buying their medical records and then later coming back and saying, yeah, we need this person out of here because my cousin is a match with their kidney. That's crazy to me, but that is literally what be happening out here. So, nonetheless, let's see what this next situation is that we got going here. All right. Let me bring this on over here. Hold on. I need my topic text. I need my topic. So I don't know. It may be. I believe that organ stealing still goes on because there's people that want to live. And if you got enough money and you can make things happen to somebody that might not have no money, like just some homeless guy who's been checked out, they know he's a AB blood type or whatever, and that he's still got a good lungs or whatever, they can check all that shit out and put it right in your medical record. And then somebody else can pay for that and know exactly who they need to take out. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's what's happening right now, but that is definitely going on somewhere. So anyway, let's see what this story is about. Like I said, the story itself is still being checked out. Okay? This specific story about this specific person. But there are some other elements of the story that seem interesting. So let's check it out. Oh, I need volume. That's what I need.
Shocking news. A 42-year-old mechanic escaped from a hospital in the northern United States in a state of panic, shouting, "They want to take my organs." At first, police believed he was delirious after a minor accident, but 2 hours later, a raid changed everything. The man, Mark Delcourt, was admitted for a minor injury, but his file had been altered to irrecoverable, and he was moved to a technical/maintenance wing. The doors were locked. The cameras were turned away. Mark heard two people whispering, "No family, we start tonight." In panic, he ripped out his IV, crawled into a ventilation duct, and escaped. Police thought he was still panicking, but Mark insisted there are more people alive in there. At 0047, a special tactical unit raided the basement. They found 4 patients strapped down, one lying on a table next to a tray of surgical tools stained with dried blood. Behind a false wall, they discovered a secret room containing 6 unregistered medical refrigerators and 28 files marked with a red X. The American public is in shock. A hospital, supposedly the safest place, suddenly appears to be the most dangerous for patients without family by their side.
Okay, so we heard the story. Now, like I said, this story specifically about the guy who went through the air duct or whatever, I'm still researching this one. Because here's the thing. If something like that happens, right, and everybody sees it, a bunch of people hear it, they could just quell the noise and then put whatever narrative they want behind it and say, "Oh, no, that didn't happen." Why? Because I wasn't there. I wasn't there to see it. So I can't say, you can't tell me it didn't happen. It did happen. I was standing right there when it happened. So unless they have people reporting on it from what they would consider the reputable sources, you know, the CNNs and the MSNBCs and all that kind of stuff, then they'll tell you that it's not real. But just because CNN or MSNBC doesn't pick a story up doesn't mean that it's not real. It just means that they didn't pick the story up for whatever reason. Some of them don't pick the story up because they're paid not to pick that story up because they don't want to cause mass hysteria or mass panic. So I will say this, the fact that this clip is still circulating means something, because a lot of the stuff that they put out there, once they check it and find out that it's incorrect or that it's promoting something that's not real, then they'll take it down and they'll say it violates the community guidelines. This video is still up, so that either means they're still investigating or that there is some truth to it, or it can't be unproven, if that makes sense. So the fact that they mentioned storage containers in basements and unregistered bodies and things like that, what do you think they do with the Jane Does and the John Does? You know, when they find somebody, nobody comes to claim them after a certain amount of time, you know, a couple of days, they probably do put them in a storage unit and say, hey, if there's anything usable from this model, let's grab it. So maybe it's a crazy story, but this is not the first time we've heard this story. And this is what I've been trying to tell people. It's like the arrogance that they have that we'll just believe everything, regardless of whether or not we've seen it or we've been exposed to it. They just tell us whatever the narrative is, and we're supposed to go with that. I'm not going with that no more. I know that there's an underworld, as there is, of people who don't have the same moral compass that I do, of people who feel totally different about life and the value of it. And me, I'm going to just operate with that knowledge. I don't necessarily have to live in that world to understand that that world exists. So when I see certain things and when I hear certain things, I'm going to ask the questions because a lot of this stuff doesn't make sense. And we don't have any control over it. It's like we're sitting here watching it. We see it's some bullshit, but we're like, what am I supposed to do about it? And that's the honest truth. That's the honest truth. So is organ stealing still circulating? I don't know because they haven't taken anything from me. But to think that with enough money and enough information, you can't create a situation where accidents happen, I would be ignorant to think like that. So there has to be some level of truth in this story. Maybe not the specific story. Maybe this guy didn't climb an event. Maybe he went out the front door. I don't know. I don't know where he was at in a hospital where the vent is the only way out. There's like, you can get out of a hospital. Maybe you might not be able to get out of a jail hospital as easily, but like a regular hospital, if you wake up and you're in a room by yourself, normally you're not locked in that room. You're not strapped down to anything. And so you could just, take your IVs out and run. But for whatever reason, they mentioned him getting into a ventilation duct, which was weird to me. So that's the one part of the story that doesn't sit right with me. I'd have gone right out the front door. I'd have been yelling, security, security, because he was admitted to an actual hospital. So either everyone in the hospital is in on it, or when you start screaming and yelling, people are going to turn their head to try to figure out what's going on. So that's all I'm saying. It's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one. Special shouts to Zora on YouTube and on Facebook. Shouts to Gregarious Philanthropy H9 on Twitch, Albon on YouTube. I see you guys. I'm actually appreciative that the multi-chat is sort of working, at least over here. And anybody that's on Facebook, Sean Adams jumped in. Uncle Lanny stopped in. So everybody who's touching the Purge of the BS on a Thursday from these multiple forums, this is very helpful because I needed to know if this worked. And now we found out that it did work. And we did also find out another thing. If X is down, well, you know what? I'll save that for the OBS forum or maybe on a Flute video. Speaking of which, don't forget to join me on the Flute app. That's FLEWTE. That is like a social media app, but it just doesn't have as much, it doesn't have the same rules. There's certain rules that I can't abide by, and so that app is great for me because it allows me to pretty much say what it is I want to say, how I want to say it, without a whole bunch of censorship and all that. As long as I'm not harming a child or doing something crazy like that, I can say what I really want to say. So don't forget to join me and others over on the Flute app. That's FLEWTE for businesses. Make your business stand out. You'll be able to interact with real people instead of the bots that we have on these other forums. So let me keep this thing moving. Because this one is, I guess, going to be bad news for some. Some of you guys may have heard, but recently in Florida, they haven't fully, but they're attempting to incorporate a skin tax. Now, some of y'all don't know what a skin tax is, what they're proposing, okay? What they're proposing in Florida is that content creators who utilize sexual content, such as OnlyFans, will be charged a tax, I guess differently than anybody else, on the money that they make from doing that, which is weird to me. And I'll tell you why. Because as most people know, I hate to use the term prostitution, but prostitution is one of the oldest businesses in America. Selling sex. So why tax it now? Who's going to get the money? The funny part is that, just like everything, they always say it's going to be used towards education. They always say that, right? But that's never the case. They said that was going to be the casinos are going to be all for education. And so nonetheless, I'm going to let you guys hear the Florida gubernatorial candidate, James Fishback. His last name is Fishback, right? We're going to let you hear his proposition. And, You guys can let me know if you think it's a good idea or not. Personally, I think we should be taxing other things. And if they're going to start focusing on this, that means they're going to have to embellish themselves into the content. It's like, well, we got to see it in order to understand how to tax it. You know what I'm saying? So now they're good. We got to see how widespread is it. I mean, we are 50%, 55%. They'll find a reason. And this guy looks like he looks at OnlyFans content, but maybe not of the ladies. That's just an opinion. I don't know the gentleman personally. I'll let you see him. We will talk about it, okay? Hold on a second here. Did I put the thing in there? I did put the thing in there. Pause. All right, so check this out. We're about to introduce James Fishback. Fishback. Yes. Fishback. So let's see what Fishback has to say here, okay? Let's see.
I want to break some news here with you, Joel. I hadn't planned to do this, but allow me to do it, which is that as Florida governor in year one, I will push for the first of its kind OnlyFans sin tax. If you are a so-called OnlyFans creator in Florida, you are going to pay 50% to the state on whatever you so-called earn via that online degeneracy platform. And that money will be used to fund our education system, will be used to fund the crisis pregnancy centers, will be used to fund the first of its kind mental health czar for men in particular, because men have been told for far too long that they are guilty of masculinity, that they are guilty of all of society's ills. I'm not going to stand for that slanderous lie. What I'm going to do is I am going to end this lie that toxic masculinity is responsible for all the sins and ills of society. If you're an OnlyFans model and you reside in Florida, get ready to pay 50% of your income to the state. It is called a sin tax because it is a sin, number one. But the purpose of a sin tax in economics is to disincentivize and deter a behavior. And yes, as Florida governor, I don't want young women who could otherwise be mothers, raising families, rearing children.
This guy's going to get in trouble. He needs to stop right now. Look, man. Look. I'm going to play it again because I realized that I hadn't turned on X. And I feel like X needs to be part of this because this is an interesting conversation. This is an interesting conversation because it goes to the whole Johns and Prosties thing, right? If you arrest the Johns, this is the police's thinking. If you arrest the Johns, there'll be no demand, so there'll be no need for supply. So there'll be no need for prostitution if all the people that would hire a prostitute are behind bars. That's their thinking. This guy's coming from the whole other side. In my opinion, it sounds like a pimp. Sounds like you're trying to pimp the OnlyFans people. Now, me personally, I don't have any OnlyFans subscriptions. I'm not that kind of guy. But there are definitely plenty of people out there who go through that. And you know the reason why they go through that? Because a lot of them can't get women. Now, Guy, I don't know if you're having any trouble and struggle there, but there are some gentlemen out here that don't get ladies like that. Like they can't even talk to them. They approach them all creepy in the DMs and stuff. They never get no attention, no rhythm. So for them, the easiest way to do stuff is to just have a subscription to some chick that's going to talk to you nice that you don't have to be in front of. You can be, I don't want to say be who you want to be, but you just basically, you have the border of the computer in between. Because like if you meet a woman face to face, she could tell you your breath stink. But she can't tell you your breath stink if there's a computer in between. She'll just tell you you're nice for sending her whatever gift you sent her. So I can understand why there's some guys that do that. You know what I'm saying? I get it. There are some gentlemen out here that are struggling with a lot of different things. Even with their own relationships. They don't get attention when they get home. And you know what kind of attention I'm talking about. They don't get nobody saying hello to them, nobody saying I love you, nobody saying nothing, that you're awesome, or no positive feedback. They just busting their ass all day to make sure the bills get paid, right? So then they get home and they end up on OnlyFans as well. So I believe that he is somewhat true in the identifying of men's mental health as part of the issue here. But if you just can't get women, like, how you gonna fix that? You could try to do I'm a player type of, one of those master classes or whatever, where you try to like teach somebody how to be a pickup artist. But that doesn't work for everybody, because some people just don't look that good and don't have that much money to offset how bad they look. So I feel like he probably has either somebody close to him, maybe even a daughter or something like that, that got pulled into that world of OnlyFans, right? And he's got a vendetta against it. Because honestly, truth be told, don't ask, don't tell with that kind of stuff. Now, if you have a woman that has a certain type of job, and so they don't want her doing OnlyFans stuff because it looks bad on the company or something, you can state that in an employment agreement. But people are free to do what they want to do. If you want to sell your body and pictures of your feet and all that kind of shit, hey, that's on you. I'm not even going to be mad. I'm going to tell the fellas the same way I did in the very beginning of this episode. We have to have a little bit of self-control. Like, if you don't want your lady doing stuff like that, don't promote it. I hate to say it, but don't promote it. Don't promote it to that degree where you're subscribing to just be somebody in the stands watching the rest of the game. It just seems stupid. So I'm going to play this guy's thing one more time, but I feel like he has a vendetta. Either the vendetta is he didn't get a lot of ladies when he was younger, so now he's mad, or he's got somebody very close to him family-wise, or maybe a friend's daughter, something like that, where he knows this person that is converted to that, and now he's like, we're going to take 50% of your earnings. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? I don't even think that's legal, to be honest with you. But let's hear it one more time.
I want to break some news here with you, Joel. I hadn't planned to do this, but allow me to do it, which is that as Florida governor in year one, I will push for the first of its kind OnlyFans sin tax. If you are a so-called OnlyFans creator in Florida, you are going to pay 50% to the state on whatever you so-called earn via that online degeneracy platform. And that money will be used to fund our education system, will be used to fund the crisis pregnancy centers, will be used to fund the first of its kind mental health czar for men in particular, because men have been told for far too long that they are guilty of masculinity, that they are guilty of all of society's ills. I'm not going to stand for that slanderous lie. What I'm going to do is I am going to end this lie that toxic masculinity is responsible for all the sins and ills of society. If you're an OnlyFans model and you reside in Florida, get ready to pay 50% of your income to the state. It is called a sin tax because it is a sin, number one. But the purpose of a sin tax in economics is to disincentivize and deter a behavior. And yes, as Florida governor, I don't want young women who could otherwise be mothers, raising families, rearing children. I don't want them to be selling their bodies to sick men online. And I don't want young, impressionable men who have strayed from Christ, who have strayed from our Lord and Savior, to be told and drawn into lust and have their entire brain rewired. We will raise hundreds of millions of dollars of income on the OnlyFans sin tax. And if we don't, Joel, if we don't raise that income, you know what it'll mean? It will mean something even greater has materialized for the young women and young men of our state, that the OnlyFans industry and its supporters, and you know who those supporters are, Joel, that its supporters will have been utterly robbed of their ability to rob us, not just of our hard-earned wages, but of our commitment to Christ.
Oh, this is a lot. Okay. Let's unpack this properly, because I get what the guy is saying. But I will say this, that if you want to start with a religious background on it, you may need to start somewhere else. Like maybe not OnlyFans, maybe start with music or video games or something. I think there's way bigger fish to fry than whether or not OnlyFans creators are making money, because they are, but the money's being made by guys mostly, because there's some women that like women, but mostly guys that don't get regular women, or guys who don't normally get respected by women. So maybe if we focus more on that side of it, creating families, it wouldn't be so much of a religious thing. Because if you throw the religion out there, you're going to find people of different religions. So to a way it like absolves, their own responsibility. And just like Al Bond said, maybe we turn the OnlyFans money into a training situation so these young ladies could get other jobs. But you got to understand, similar to YouTube and other online forums, there are some people that make a lot of money. So trying to get them to not do that or somehow feel guilty about doing it, especially if they're providing houses and cars and stuff for their whole family, in their own soul, they might be like, well, you know what? I might not be doing something that God likes, but my family seems to be living good. So, Lord, if you don't like what it is I'm doing, take it away from me. And they'll test God in that way. So sometimes the test itself is really whether or not you can deny yourself from this thing. So it's not God will take it from you. He's going to put it in front of you and say, make a choice. And then that choice is what he's going to judge you on, not whether or not it's there. Jesus was tempted in the desert or in the forest for like 40 days or whatever. And it wasn't that the stuff was taken away from him. It was just he didn't succumb to it, so he wasn't affected by it. So same with guys that don't have OnlyFans. Some of us don't really care about OnlyFans because we don't have no subscriptions to OnlyFans. So if they take it away or if they keep it, it doesn't really matter to us because we're not looking at it. But for some people, it's the only way. Hold on a second. My mom's calling me. I'll call her back. I'm going to call you back. I just told my mama I would call her back for y'all. So you better hit the like button, okay? Better hit the like button on that. Because I told my mom, well, I didn't tell her directly. I just sent a text. But you get my point. So what I'm saying here is there are gentlemen and people who have this life. This is the underworld I was talking about. Not all of us live in that world. So we don't have OnlyFans subscriptions and we don't care who's making money off of OnlyFans. Like if that's what you do and you choose to do it, you're not my wife. Now, some people, they do it with their wives and they do all types of stuff, man. There's a lot of real deviant shit going on, but everybody's not getting taxed for it. And I feel like doing it to the OnlyFans folks is maybe you should tax the company. You see what I'm saying? Like the actual streaming service and not the individual creators, if that makes more sense. Because the streaming service is who provided the platform. So that's who needs to be taxed. Not each individual creator has to take 50% of their earnings. No, take 50% of the platform earnings and see where that gets you. Now, that might get you somewhere. But if you come after individual creators, they'll find a way to make it seem like you're being biased. Because some of these folks don't really have much else that they can do, not for that kind of money. There's some women out there that, they might be smart, but they're more pretty than they are smart. And because there's some dudes out here that get no play, there will always be a market for that. There will always be a market for that. So I think it's disingenuous to just come out there talking about the creators in OnlyFans and not talk about the platform itself or the people that are paying for the subscriptions. Like if you want to attack the whole thing, attack the whole thing. Don't just come for the lady that's taking foot pictures and sending them to guys because they don't get to see ladies' feet. Like if you don't see a butt naked woman in your life other than TV, you don't get to see naked feet unless you go to like the beach or something. I know this sounds crazy. I'm just saying y'all need to understand there are some guys out there that don't have no rhythm with women, but they do like women. So the only way to get things done is to pay for certain things. And every guy's paying in some way, shape, or form. It's just some guys, it is 100% completely transactional. Don't talk to me after it's over with. You got 10 minutes to get your whatever off. There's some guys that live that life. Then there's other guys that get, they get married and they have a happy life with their wife and they don't even think about this shit no more. But we all live here, so we got to keep in mind that there's more than one segment. I don't think this guy's being fair. I think if you want to tax the shit, tax everybody that's involved in that from the top to the bottom, and then it seems fair. But you're only attacking the creators, which to me feels like you have some vendetta against women more so than men or anybody else, because some people don't like to be called men or women. So I'll respect that for right now. But my point is, this guy's only aiming at one side of it, and he's not aiming at the whole construct, which is the real problem. All right? So nonetheless, done with him. Let's keep it moving here. We only got 2 more. Okay. So there has been IMZ on the chat. I'm telling you, he had a vendetta. I know a vendetta when I see one. I know he was not getting all that. He was not getting that rhythm back in the day. Not like that. Nah. He was the one that was wishing. Meanwhile, there was a high school quarterback that was snatching all the women. This was not the high school quarterback. So he's one of those guys I'm talking about. That's why he's mad. He probably got mad because he put a bunch of money into somebody's OnlyFans and they acted like they liked him. And then he tried to meet him for real in life and they just dissed him. Either way, it all sounds like it comes from a negative space. Because if you want to be honest, everybody in that situation is involved in that situation. So you need to just tax everybody. The people that's got subscriptions, they get a subscription tax. The creators get a creator tax. The streaming platform gets a platform tax or some type of corporate tax. But just hit everybody. Don't be like that. Don't be like that. So we're going to take an interesting turn here because I have seen these last couple of days, I didn't really want to talk about it at first, but I think because of what we have going on in like Minneapolis right now because of the ICE stuff and, a lot of other cities, but definitely Minneapolis. It's time to talk. What are we actually involved in? That's what I got to figure out now. What is the U.S. really stand on? What does America first even mean at this point? Because I will tell you what, recently, there was a whole anti-Iranian situation that happened, and Iran is protesting like shit. Now, I would show y'all some of the clips from over there, but it's very confusing what you see over there. There's millions of people outside, explosions happening all over the place. You can't understand the language. They're yelling Allahu Akbar and all that kind of stuff. So I can't show you that because it is very confusing. But if these things are happening, and they have a death toll of somewhere around like 3,000 people who've been unalived by the police and military, the question becomes, should the U.S. step in? Should the U.S. step in the Iranian protest? That is the question. And I don't know if I feel like the U.S. should step in per se. I heard Trump say something about help is on the way. Could you not send our folks over there to deal with that? Like, I got folks in the military. Could you not send them, to deal with that shit? Not taken away from Iran. These are real people over there. But I think they got it handled. I think they got enough folks that if they want to overthrow some shit, they got the power to do so. See, our protests be like 30 people, a couple of signs. It's no real threat. I think the closest they got, to be honest with you, was January 6th. Because they was right there and they tried to get in there. But you see, there ain't nothing changed. Nothing at all. So if that's going on in Iran, I hate to say it, but we got some shit over here we need to deal with. And we don't need to be sending any of our troops into Iran, who I thought was our enemy, but apparently that's changed. We don't need to send nobody over there. We can just We can deal with our stuff here. They can deal with their stuff there. We can talk on the phone if you want to talk to them on the phone, see how things are going. But I think you need to stay the hell out of Iran. And unless they start blowing stuff up or, something along the lines of like blowing up other stuff, they can blow themselves up. Same way you let Baltimore destroy in their own realm. When it was that Freddie Gray? Or when you let Minneapolis wild out over George Floyd or whoever wild out over whoever. Or they wilding out over Renee Good right now. So maybe we don't need to be fucking with Iran. Just saying. I'm just saying. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I just feel like we got so much more that we could be worried about and we could be handling and dealing with over here, that if Iran got 1 million people rolling up on the government, hey, I think they got it. We don't need our administration to step into everything. That's what got the U.S. in trouble and in debt the way it is. Stepping into everything, keeping, all in everybody's damn business. Now, if you got a, freaking Holocaust going on or some crazy genocide situation, then yes, you step in, but you also step in with other people. You see what I'm saying? It don't have to always just be the U.S. It's always just the U.S. stepping in somewhere. And I don't like that. It's always just the U.S. So we're going to see this clip. We're going to talk a quick moment. Then we're going to move into our last clip. And then I'm done with the shit for the day. But I just think you need to understand, you are just the propaganda person. They want us out here talking their talking points. So they give us the narrative so that we can go out on the street and talk about it. But I'm going to tell you right now, nobody's going to convince me that the country that was the biggest threat 6 months ago to us, now we got to go over there and help them out to do anything. Let them settle that shit, and then we'll talk to whoever they put in power. That's on them. That's on them. Not on the U.S. Anyway, I'm getting carried away. I'm getting frustrated because I'm tired of seeing every time there's a conflict somewhere, the first thing we got to talk about is who we sending over there. Why we got to send anybody? Ain't nobody else sending nobody. Anyway. So this one confused me because a U-Haul drove into a crowd of people in L.A. And this is some anti-Iranian stuff. So why is anti-Iranian situations happening in Los Angeles? What does Los Angeles have to do with any of that shit in Iran? I don't know. Let's see.
Breaking news from an Iran protest happening right now in West LA. Air 7 was overhead right when a large crowd got going after someone into a U-Haul. Now, to put some context to this entire situation, there was a planned protest for 2 o'clock this afternoon outside the federal building in Westwood. That protest was called Anti-Iranian Regime Rally. Well, about 3:30 this afternoon, just as Air 7 flew over this protest to kind of get eyes on what was happening, this is what happened. That U-Haul drove through a very large crowd of protesters. It's difficult to tell how many people.
I would not get
we are
out.
Told by LAPD, nobody was injured in this, but you can see this quickly became a very, very tense situation. There was a driver inside that U-Haul. You can see him interacting with protesters who are jabbing flagpoles and all sorts of objects through the window at him. What you cannot see in this video, on the other side of that U-Haul, there are Iranian signs that have some sort of message written on them. Whatever was going on in this crowd, people were unhappy, perhaps also scared, because there was a U-Haul truck driving through this massive crowd of people.
Perhaps scared?
As you can imagine, this created quite a scene. We're going to let this video play out for you. This was just about 3 o'clock this afternoon, so a little more than an hour
today,
ago.
Obviously.
I'm sorry, 3:30. This was just less than an hour ago. And as this video plays out, we've watched it here a few times in the newsroom. You can see the crowd physically pulls that driver out of the U-Haul cab. And as they are doing so, you can see people in the crowd going after him. What you can't tell there, those are LAPD officers that are also involved in pulling the driver out of that truck, trying to take that person into custody.
I'm just going to pause for a second here. What does any of this have to do with Iran again? Now, I heard that there was a message on the side of the U-Haul. I heard that the U-Haul was initially stopped in one place and then drove off and then got stopped again, and then the people beat up the person in the U-Haul. But if you're in the middle of the street and a 26-foot U-Haul happens to be coming in your direction, what's your first response? Get out of the way, right? Okay. They don't like to do that. And this is the new thing, blocking up the roadways for protests. I'm not saying that they're not entitled whatever right, but I guess the First Amendment right, I don't even know if all these people are citizens. So let's start with that. You got amendment rights and shit because you live here and you're from here. But we're not going to have you beating up U-Haul trucks. Do you know how much that deposit is for the damn U-Haul? I hope the guy got the insurance on it. The daily insurance. It's like $15 a day. It's nothing. But the windshield is gone. The windows are gone. And for whatever reason, the back was open at the end. So this guy just drove down there in a U-Haul. And I'm not really sure why he chose a U-Haul, why he didn't have anything in the back of it. Like, what was the point of this? Would you really thought you was going to run people over and nothing was going to happen to you? Or you were going to just get there and they were going to see the message on the side and they weren't going to approach you? I don't know. But it's obvious that this person intended to cause some type of chaos. And the question is, were they even paid to do so? And secondly, why do all these people care about what's going on in Iran right now? If you really want to help Iran out, go to Iran to help them out. Don't block up LA streets over the shit. First of all, LA traffic is bad enough. So we're going to block up LA streets to make a point in Iran. Iran can't even see y'all. Half the internet is out over there. They got an internet blackout. So they're not even seeing what y'all doing over here. So you're just really doing this shit for no reason. Like literally no reason.
And as police officers are doing that, the crowd is going after that person, trying to physically harm them. It is a very, very tense situation.
Some of y'all going to jail.
And what we're going to see here is police ultimately walk this person through that angry crowd of people and take that person into custody. But all the while, people in this protest crowd are
they're trying to move back this crowd. There's like 4 cops.
This was an anti-Iranian regime rally protest that was planned in Westwood outside the federal building. You can tell this is a very large crowd. Now, this comes on top of protests that have been unfolding all week and getting increasingly tense in Iran and also here in the United States.
That person going to jail.
It started in Iran as sort of an economic
You're going to jail. Everybody that swung a flag and hit the police, y'all all going to jail. You do know that, right? Okay.
Closing, the currency is devolving under
the regime. You're going to jail. This guy, green jacket, going to jail. You committed an assault after the fact. Let's see what else we got.
People there in the streets are beginning to revolt. So wait, hold on. I want you to watch this video here.
These people are fighting the police.
The driver of that U-Haul away while protesters continue to chase the person who is in police custody. We do know that no ambulances were called. Police have said nobody was injured. That person is now being walked away, and the driver of that.
I'm going to pause it right there. For those that can see what's about to happen, this dude with the stick is coming all the way down the street on camera with the police standing right there to commit a felony. There you go.
U-Haul is in LAPD custody. We will then find out more information about what exactly happened here, if this was intentional.
If it was intentional. What, that the truck went down there? The truck... Okay. We're gonna back this up just a smiggity here. This was considered a planned protest. This was planned. So why weren't the streets closed off? Why was this guy driving his van down there and nobody had stopped until he got to this part of the crowd with one police car in the front? Maybe they wanted him to do that. Y'all may not have seen it, but there was like signs on the other side of the truck. It said like no masala or something like that. I forgot what it said. I saw it the other day. I don't understand that language, okay? All I'm saying is he wanted to be seen, so he drove down there in the truck to be seen. Then people jumped in front of the truck, started wilding out because of whatever message was on the side. He decides to drive off, which I believe is your right. If you are in a big vehicle and a bunch of people jump on it, you might as well drive the hell away because you might not make it out alive. So he did that. Somehow gets stopped somewhere else by the police, probably for running through the crowd earlier. While he gets stopped by the police, the crowd wiles the hell out, destroys the truck, and tries to hurt the guy, which is expected if you just ran through a crowd of people just before. So I get their frustration. But once the gentleman is in police custody, now you guys are going to jail because he's handcuffed, he's in police custody, and you're assaulting him on the camera. So y'all all going to jail, everybody that did that. Sorry, it is what it is. But the real question to me is, why did they step out and walk him through this crowd instead of putting him directly in the police car that was right there? It's almost like they kind of wanted him to get his ass whooped a little bit. So don't think I didn't pick up on these things. Like, why you didn't put him in the police car that was right there? It's right there. And then if you drive and the people in the way, you can run them over. And you'll get qualified immunity. So nonetheless, the first question was simple. Should the U.S. even be involved in this? And I'm thinking militarily. But apparently they're doing riots for this shit in L.A. What the hell L.A. has to do with Iran right now? I don't know. And so I would venture to say that these people are not paid actors, but they're just protesting for nothing. Like, y'all ain't going to do nothing in L.A. that's going to make Trump make a move in Iran. And you're not helping the people of Iran by doing anything in L.A. So take y'all asses to work because I need my latte. Anyway, I'm sorry. I know a lot of times I can be that guy and I can be a little mean about it, but this seems so pointless to me. And it's like, do any of these people have jobs? Any of them? And not just because they're free to do this, but like, have y'all ever been in a traffic jam? Do you know how annoying that is? And y'all are the ones that caused it? Screw it. Enough of that one. I'm done with that one. Let's get to the last one so I can get out of here. That's all I'm saying. They definitely earned.
Why you so stupid?
That's what y'all earned out there in LA, rioting about something in Iran, while they got plenty of stuff to riot about in the US and a lot of stuff in LA. But we didn't see all of y'all Iranians jumping out there for anybody else that is maybe slighted a little bit in LA right now. We didn't see y'all. Nope. We did not see y'all. But y'all out in the middle of the street protesting about Iran. Not even living in Iran. Like, get out of here with that. Anyway, let me finish this up, man. Because I started this thing by asking how much do we really care? We act like we care.